Hello everybody, my name is Benjamin Bloom. Welcome back for another Championship Preview predictions show. It's going to be an interesting weekend this weekend. Some really good games coming up, and we're only 2 games away from the halfway point. I haven't checked the fixtures, but I assume that means everybody has then played everybody once. I don't know if there's any weird mismatchy things, but you would hope they would have that way. Norwich and Leeds have pulled away now. 5-point gap between second place and third place, and only 1 point separates all 4 of the playoff teams. Last weekend they all kind of swapped, and for the first time in ages we see Derby coming up a little bit, and for the first time in ages Middlesbrough dropping all the way down to 6th. So interesting times. At the top, still Norwich now on this ridiculous run. They go away to Bristol City. So the run is now 8 wins out of 9 games. The other one was a draw, so incredible one. But they have 2 away games coming up now, so maybe it might get a little bit trickier. But looking at the halfway totals, if they win 1 and lose 1, they'll be at 46 points for 23 games, which will be 2 points per game, which would be fantastic. So if they can go 3 points or 4 points from this, they'll be well happy, I would have thought. Bristol City, off the back of an impressive win at Birmingham in the last game, seemingly on one of their upward swings all over again. Just looking back through the Norwich games, the last equivalent sort of difficult away game was at Swansea, where they're playing a team similar position in the table, maybe even higher, and they crushed them. That coupled with the fact I saw Bristol City against Ipswich, and they weren't all that impressive. They came away with the win, but I guess that says more about Ipswich than it does about Bristol City. So I think I'm going to go for an away win in this one. Should be able to catch some of this. It's the late game on Sky on Saturday. I'm going for away win. Norwich to win at Bristol City. In second place, it's Leeds. They're away at Bolton, who are down, way on down in 23rd. Leeds are on a 4-game win streak, so that's the longest in the division. Their injury problems are clearing a little bit. Bamford apparently is ready to go. Izzy Brown and Luke Ayling in the next few weeks. Bolton, well, they've had the lead in a couple of games recently. Millwall and Wigan couldn't see those out, and they were level on 89 against Norwich last week and managed to lose. So they've been close, but the fact remains that is 1 win in 18 going back to August now. So not good time for Bolton, and a very good time for Leeds. Leeds on fire. Roof on fire, Hernandez on fire, Bielsa on fire, everybody on fire. Got to go for Leeds away win, 5th straight win. Here's the first of my 3 games in this game week. I love this. Sheffield United 3rd at home to West Brom in 5th. What a good game this is going to be. Look out for match review of that on Friday night, tomorrow night. I'm recording this on the Thursday. West Brom slightly better form than the Blades. Both have had little drop-offs, but the win for Sheffield United, like I said, shot them up to 3rd position from, I think, 6th last week, given that the Baggies and Middlesbrough both hadn't won either of their previous 2. Going to be a really interesting one, because Chris Wilder seems to have been resting players for bigger games. We saw him do it before the game against Leeds. Duffy and Sharp rested, and that was the same this past week at Reading. But he needed to go to that well and use them to beat Reading in the second half there. I would really love to see the 3-5-2 of Sheffield United against the old 3-5-2 or 3-4-3, whatever you want to call it, that West Brom are playing. We're not going to see that. It's going to probably be a back 4 from West Brom. They'll be slightly more conservative, but still, Rodriguez, Barnes, Phillips, Gale possibly, although he's been off the bench the past few games. Got no idea how this will play out. I wouldn't be surprised if it was 3-0 to Sheffield United, 0-0 or 3-0 to West Brom. I have no clue. Could really just go either way. It's going to be, hopefully, interesting, attacking match. Let's play it safe. Sit on a draw, but surely an entertaining one. Moving on to the Monday night game, which I will also be at, is Derby in 4th versus Forest, the Brian Clough East Midlands derby. Now, I was really high on Forest 2 weeks ago. I saw them beat Ipswich. They're on a good run. They're not losing. Graben's the top scorer. They're in 5th place. Team functioning well. All the bits seem to be working. So then they lose at home to Preston to kind of put a little halt to that momentum. Derby had been like win, lose, but all of a sudden you win 2 of those in a row, and it's 3 wins in 4. They beat Swansea and Wigan for the 2 wins in a row, and I think they went from 7th to 4th last week as well. So tight up there. I've looked at their head-to-head. It's Derby 38, Forest 39 with 25 draws. So really good rivalry, this one. Derby are unbeaten in the last 5 of the games between Derby and Forest, although feels like Forest possibly have the better kind of solid team shape and organisation, but maybe Derby have just that better attacking prowess, a bit more of it dotted about, whereas you kind of look at Carvalho and Graben as a way of stopping Forest. Maybe Derby have a little bit more there. I think home advantage will mean something, and I'm going to go for it. It's going to be really tight. I'm going to go for a home win in this one. I'll stick my neck on the line and not just say draw because it's a hard one to call. So Derby to win at home to Forest on Monday night. Middlesbrough, who, like I said, not been in great form, haven't won any of their last 3. They've dropped down to 6th, and I've been moaning a bit about Borough on here ever since that really great start they had, and all the clean sheets. I think 4 goals conceded by the end of September or something ridiculous. Just this sense of underachievement since then with the squad and a bit the style of football. They go away to QPR, who are also on a bit of a drop-off after that brilliant start. And they've actually dropped. They'd had such a great run since the opening 4 games and dropped into the bottom half super quick. They're down to 14th now, conceding goals at a pretty alarming rate, over 2 per game on average for the past 5 games. Borough, this is a poor run for them. They only have 2 wins in their last 8, 6 points off the top 2, although, like I said, 1 point across the whole plus. They could be 3rd by the end of the weekend, for goodness sake, and given the other teams are playing against each other, they may well be. Assombalonga scored a great goal last week, so maybe he might be fancying a start now. It looked like Hugel had possibly displaced him, but he scored a great goal, like I said, against Blackburn last week. Borough need the win, surely. They've got to bounce back now. So I'm going to back them, and I'm going to go Borough with an away win at QPR. On we go. It's Villa versus Stoke. Villa in 8th, Stoke in 10th. Villa just look like a totally different team than the one we saw sort of, I don't know, September, October time. 4 wins and 2 draws on a good streak under Dean Smith. Lots of goals, lots of good football, and pretty unlucky really, because the J. Rodriguez goal last week was clearly a handball that stopped them winning another one against West Brom, and that would have put them... They're still just on the outskirts of those 4 playoff teams, but it looks like it won't be long given their current form, and they should be up in there. Stoke, well, they beat Ipswich last week, but like I said earlier, that doesn't seem to be any kind of proof of any form. They've moved up to 10th, progressing, but progressing slowly. It's probably a game Rowett will enjoy because he knows Villa will come at them and they can do their thing trying to stop them, but I don't think they're going to. I think this one is going to be a home win. On goes Dean Smith and on go Aston Villa. Tight one this in mid-table here. Birmingham away at Blackburn. Birmingham in 9th, Blackburn in 11th, and they are tough opponents. 5 defeats each for those two teams. And for example, if you look further up the table, I think both Derby and Sheffield United have lost more games. So hard to beat but draw happy, this too. And in very typical Championship fashion, Birmingham had stabilised with 2 good wins after losing to Villa, promptly lose at home to Bristol City. I don't know where these results come from sometimes. And they've actually got 3 defeats in their last 6, although you know my feelings on draw a load. You'd rather win 3, lose 3 than draw 6, for example. Excuse me. Blackburn probably would have taken a point last week away at Borough, but given the Besic red card in the first half, and the fact that they took the lead, probably should have taken all 3 really, so a bit of a missed chance there. I will be a bit of a loser here and sit on the fence. Only 5 defeats each, draw happy, mid-table clash. I've got to go for a draw, haven't I? So Blackburn and Birmingham to draw at Ewood. Swansea in 12th versus Sheffield Wednesday in 17th. Swansea had halted their 3 straight defeats. They won at Brentford, but nearly messed up. They surged into a 3-0 lead, went back to 3-2, and then Kanyos hit the bar for Brentford in injury time. So not as convincing as possibly it should have been. Wednesday are still trading off that win at Bolton. That just gave them a little bump and a nice, helpful little 3 points for Josh Lukai in that one. They were behind at Rotherham for a short while, but they got it back there. They're not really off this bad run that went into the international break. Just a little result, a little draw here in the Steel City derby. That win against Bolton, a little draw here and there, but it's still not great. I think Swansea will enjoy the Wednesday soft centre just like they did against Brentford. So I can see them scoring. In fact, I can see them probably scoring more than once. So if Sheffield Wednesday are going to get anything, they need probably a couple of goals. So for that reason, I've got to go for a home win for Swansea. Preston in 15th take on Millwall. I was a little bit concerned that Preston's form would drop off after that Birmingham debacle where Rudd lets the ball run underneath him. But straight back at it, great away win at Forest. That one probably was a coupon buster for quite a lot of people there. And they're doing it without Callum Robinson as well. Millwall, say it every week, still hovering 1 point above the line. Can't get away from it. 3 draws in the last 4. They need a win from somewhere because they're relying on the ineptitude of the 3 teams below them to stay above the waterline, so to speak. I don't think this is a good matchup for Millwall. Millwall would like to go away to, I don't know, a bit of a softer team. Let's just say who's going to try and pass and they can beat up on them a little bit. Preston will give as good as they get. It's a difficult away trip. Preston in good form other than that Birmingham game. I've got to say home win, although just in my head it clicked there. They lost at Birmingham, and Birmingham can be quite tough and direct. So maybe there is something for Millwall, but look, I've said home win now. I am going to stick to that. Ipswich, my team, in 24th. Welcome Wigan for the latest of the 15th must-win game of the season. Ipswich looking at any team that are in the bottom half when they're playing them at home, thinking, right, can they finally get something going? Cole Skews is not going to be around, so Lambert's going to still have to function with a very, very young, a very young-looking midfield. Wigan have players missing though. We don't think Grigg, Powell, Jacobs, Naismith are going to be there, so I have my fingers firmly crossed if Ipswich can take the form of the first 2 games that they drew under Lambert against Preston and Reading. Wigan with that bad away form and a few injured players, so I'm trying to conjure up this image. It's hard to imagine after so few wins this calendar year even. So I'm going to do it, foolhardy as it may seem. I'm going to back Ipswich for the home win. Please, just one. Sheffield United next, and then QPR, and then Middlesbrough, and then Millwall. My God. Let's go Ipswich to beat Wigan this weekend at home. Moving on, Hull in 19th versus Brentford in 18th. 2 teams in very differing form. I thought we'd had a little bump for West Brom. For Brentford, sorry, they went to West Brom, got that late draw. They were a bit lucky, but then they went straight back to losing at home to Swansea in a bit of a alarming. They were 3-0 down after 27 minutes. Okay, they fought back, but something not quite right there, and they are collapsing terribly. 1 win in 15, so they're in with Ipswich and Bolton with never winning. Brentford, just not enough wins at all. Next 2 games will tell us a lot with Brentford, whether they're going to go into the sort of 13th to 17th positions, or whether they're going to get stuck further down, because it's Hull away, obviously the game we're talking about, and then Bolton at home. You'd imagine a bad return from those 2 games, and I think some Brentford fans might adjust their expectations in the short term. Hull have been really good lately, 12 points in the last 7, which is great form. Those games include West Brom and Norwich, both going to the KC, and neither of them scoring. So I'm afraid, if you're a Brentford fan, all of this says to me that Hull have got a bit tougher, and I've got to go for a home win. Hull to beat Brentford and continue the misery for them. Finally, Rotherham in 20th versus Reading in 22nd. We seem to get one of these every single week, a bottom 6 clash. Rotherham nearly pulled off a great turnaround victory at Sheffield Wednesday last week, but in typical Rotherham fashion ended with their 9th draw in 12 games. However, last defeat for them at the New York Stadium was way back August the 21st. So although I whine about all their draws and want to see some more, the odd win for Rotherham, it has translated into a really nice unbeaten home record for a good few months now. Clement, as we know, was sacked by Reading sort of this time last week. No caretaker bounce at home to Sheffield United last week for Marshall. No new manager announced yet, but from what we read, it's likely to be a foreign coach where they are looking. We know Reading have been a bit hodgepodgey, but some good finishers up front who have taken chances when they have got them. That said, everything kind of points towards a home win, really. So I think I'm going to back Rotherham for once. Those Rotherham fans that don't like me predicting draws and defeats for them every single week. So there you go. That's my predictions. We try and do this every week. So if you're watching for the first time and you enjoyed, please give us a thumbs up there or down there, wherever you're watching. Really rely on comments and information from fans of all these teams we're watching. I, for my sins, am an Ipswich fan. I try and get to as many other games as I can, but I do not profess to have the knowledge that somebody who sees their team every week does. So really would help me if you commented, give me your views on what you think is going to happen this week and what you think to what I said, obviously. And finally, loads of Championship content. Subscriber growth has been really good, but if you're watching for the first time, you're a fan of a Championship team or just the Championship in general, please hit that subscribe button. Would do me a real solid. Follow me on Twitter at Benjamin Bloom. I did promise I'd do a Q&A at some point this week. I just have not got round to it at all. So we'll try and do that. Lots of other stuff on the channel as well. Blue Monday podcast stuff. And yesterday, if you check back in the timeline for the channel, I did a video of my top 5 goals I've seen live and in the flesh this past year. So that's well worth watching. Thank you for watching this one. If you want to put your own predictions in the comments, always welcome those. One of these days, one of the subscribers or me is going to beat the record of 7 correct, but hasn't looked like happening in recent weeks, so let's hope that happens soon. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the weekend's football and keep in touch in the comments. Over and out.